You're listening to the Court of Public Opinion. I hope I don't go all over the map, and I apologize if I do. There's a lot to cover here. And we're going to talk about why they do background checks and why it's important for public safety, because it's regarding the Court of Public Opinion. I think we can fairly assess this information and lay out a good case for why court cases don't go to court and why they should go to court, and if there's a crime committed, of course, but we're not going to go into that. That's not the point, okay? We are going to discuss why it is important they do background checks on public officials, because in case it actually could be to the public safety a detriment. And, there are politicians that probably shouldn't be working in public office, much less a janitor's job, okay? That would be offending janitors, because there's a lot of good janitors. So they shouldn't be working, period. But that's another story, and we're going to get to that here in a moment. I do want to lay out the case why a lot of these court cases don't go to court for some reason or another. The light bulb went off. I know I'm slow, and I apologize, but sometimes I have to put this information together properly so that I can at least address it and put in to the public opinion of those who might want to look a little deeper, and that's what a lot of people are doing. Now that you have the internet, you have a research tool, and you can dig away and dig away and dig away, and then you find something like this. In this case, because we didn't have the internet in 2003, well, maybe we did. No, sorry, 1993. But during the time of the Clinton administration, they had selected judges from Sybil, sorry, I just messed her name up. Sorry. Sybil Rubold, I believe her name is. Okay, I'm sorry if I got her name wrong. I apologize, but I do have the link below. But she goes on to say that a lot of the selection of the judges and some people that hold public office had some, I don't know, shady past, I guess you could say. That's the word, shady. Okay, so they were easily manipulated. Then there's this new word called deep state. Yeah, you guys heard that word? Deep state? Yeah. Well, anyway, so as we dig a little deeper, because we have internet as a research tool, and, you should have never got me started. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I didn't say I was a multimedia queen or anything, but I am figuring this stuff out. Okay, so now in 1993, remember Janet Reno? I don't know much about her. I just knew she had some really ugly glasses. I was like, man, God, do something with those glasses, for God's sake. I would never go out there wearing those goggles. Anyway, remember her? Well, she just passed away. Anyway, and you know how they all they all had a process. They all got sworn in, and it was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was the president at the time, and Hillary, co-president, as people call it. See, I didn't follow politics then, and it's just not politics for me. I'm not very political. I do follow a lot of topics that are political, and I do have some strong opinions. But to me, they're not political issues. They're just, they're life issues, actually, the quality of American life and things that actually matter. Listen, we put on the uniform, okay? And we put on the uniform not just to save lives. It's a life issue. Everything regarding the life of a person. And, I was a paramedic in the Army, medic. So obviously I want to know about the issues that are on the ground and what goes on out there. And I'm a medic, and that's what I do. And I know a little bit about that stuff, but, I'm not going to be sending some girl to an abortion clinic if I know that there's a bunch of things crawling in there that don't belong in a garbage can, much less in an abortion clinic. And what I mean, there's some hazmat issues, and I don't know what else, but there's a bunch of things that go on with that. They don't sterilize their equipment, put it that way. So I wouldn't be sending anybody anywhere. And if you're like me, you don't want to go to a public bathroom, much less go into a place like that. You don't know what's going on, and that just kind of gives me the creeps. Anyway, it's not a political issue as much as it's a public safety issue. You know what I mean? I'm just sorry. I don't want anything crawling up my you-know-what, and I wouldn't want that for anybody either, and I'm concerned for you if you were to go into a place that, is like low standards and substandard zero quality, hazmat issues all over the place kind of thing. So I think these are public safety issues. And talk about hygiene. Like, I mean, I don't want somebody touching something and they don't know how to, properly, clean their hands. There's just some things I just think are hands off. Okay. And it's called public safety for a reason. So I think it's pretty basic. And when I look at this topic and I realized, okay, why don't these court cases go to court? Well, it might make sense if somebody was selected and had a shady past, and then we went as far as saying there's something called this deep state. Don't know much about it. Don't need to. I don't want to know all this, but this is kind of how you put the whole thing together. The bigger picture is Hillary, co-president, Bill Clinton, president, 1993, and FBI informants came forward. They had to vet this information and found out that these people had shady past, but they went ahead and they became judges, or they were held public jobs and probably shouldn't even be working in this job regarding working in the public, much less they weren't even qualified. That's what I'm saying. But they made it, and now what you have happen is a lot of people are talking about how judges are, what do they call it, judicial activism. Well, these are the judges some of these judges were the ones that were selected. They're kind of doing the dirty work, is what they said about for the deep state. That's what I've been told. And I think that's what we put together. So it explains why a lot of court cases never go to court and probably don't get investigated, because, there's some danger in whistleblowers. Whistleblowers go through stuff, and there's supposed to be special protection for whistleblowers, and they call it's kind of like the same thing as like Good Samaritan law, or special protection. Like if you're actually doing something to help somebody, there's actually special protections for a Good Samaritan, so they don't get sued for obvious reasons. If somebody's running in there and rescuing somebody and they're a Good Samaritan, that applies. In some cases, like if you see somebody that falls and passes out, and you're like, I want to say you have a license, you're a doctor or a medic, and you by law, once you like take that Hippocratic oath, by law you're supposed to attend to somebody if you're at a scene of a crime or an accident, things like that. These are things that are going on here in the public. So when we talk about public safety, these are public safety concerns. And when it comes to public safety concerns, we're looking at, addressing like disease. Nowadays there are like tons of diseases. So you want to be extra precautious and take extra precautions. And same thing with a school bus. If you were driving down the street and the basic traffic laws, you have to stop when the bus is dropping off children, or you'll get a big ticket, by the way. So when we talk about public safety issues, these things kind of matter. Why some court cases don't go to court, and why some things end up here or on the internet, like us, who go around and dig around topics because we have nothing better to do than find out what's going on. Okay, I don't know what this is a new word for me, deep state. I have to, I'll have to better understand this, but apparently this is like this. I think this is what they mean by like shadow government. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so I'm on to this story, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, we've been talking about this, like, why don't these cases go to court? Sounds pretty like there's a case here, right? And why don't they do that? I'm not sure. But when I stumble across these videos, I think, well, maybe if you put the whole story together, find out that why these shady characters are working in public service. I mean, that would just really be amazing. That's such a revelation, because there are so many shady characters. And it's like, why are they working and this person isn't? And apparently, if you're squeaky clean, they don't want you. Oh, wow. Okay, so... it's amazing because, from that kind of makes sense. You could actually take advantage and blackmail people if they had a shady past. I mean, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I don't know. So it's just, what exactly is going on with this, quote, shady past? Well, I don't know. You can dig away. You can watch some of these videos. I put stuff in the description box below if you want to dig a little into. You could probably put the picture together pretty clear why some people get jobs and some people don't. I mean, don't take it personal, but apparently if you're not if you're too squeaky clean, you're probably not going to get a job. That's what I got the gist of it, okay? So let's not take it personal, why we are not working and why some of them are. I guess that makes perfect sense by today's standard. You're not if you're not corrupt enough, you're not going to work. Whatever. I didn't know this was a job requirement in their description box or job description, but apparently that is. And I'm just, wow, this is just amazing. See, what would happen if we didn't have the access to the internet? And now we have a research tool. That is amazing. Okay, so let me dig away at this topic because this is we're going to just leave it there. I'm not quite done with that topic, but we're just going to leave it there, okay? Why, and I won't take it personal next time. I'm just not shady enough that I couldn't get a job there. Over to the next topic, and then we're talking about this whole phenomenon with Starbucks and Target. They seem to only want to hire certain people. And, see, this again goes back to the topic we've been talking about, public safety, illustrate why it's important that public safety matters. And, if I'm an average officer of the law and I'm, wanting to get a coffee and I'm wondering why there's all these Muslim refugees, it's because Starbucks has this new policy that they only want people there that are Muslim refugees, and if you like a husband-wife marriage, they don't want you. Okay, I just want to give the heads up. Those average officers, I know you guys like your coffee, and a lot of people like donuts, okay? But for the decent officer that's trying to just do their job and get home and then do it all over again, and some of those paramedics that always sit in the truck over there, I know I see you guys all the time. I know you're always at Sunoco getting coffee, by the way. We're glad. It's very reassuring to have our public safety officers always looking out for us, and they're like always next door. So always, and you always look good. And I always have a good time talking to them. They're very nice guys. Okay, so when we were talking about, remember that whole thing about, if you're not shady enough, you're probably not going to get a job. That explains a lot of things. I guess maybe if you're not shady enough, you're probably not going to go to court. I don't know. I mean, some of these cases don't go to court. They never did. They expired. They left them in the locker, and that's all, okay? So this whole public safety issue goes down to this. Apparently, Starbucks doesn't want your business. Apparently, I'm definitely not going to be going getting pizza over at Common Ping Pong. I'm not interested. I don't even know what's in their secret sauce or your walnut sauce. I have no interest in knowing that. God knows, I have no idea. But as far as I'm concerned now, here's the issue with Starbucks. They don't want your business if you like men and women together and you like to date and get married. I just can't believe this is happening. I mean, how did we get here? I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, there's so much wrong with this. Everything has to be public and political. My brother was getting all political, and I was like, I just said hi. I mean, it's can you just park it with the politics for a change? But we know that's not how it really is. They're not letting it go. It's just, you have to be aware of that. Some people are like, I'm not a political person, but they said this. And there's a lot of that going on today. You could go, there's some places you're just going to have to avoid. There's some members you have to avoid. They're way more political. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being in a know. And that's kind of what we're trying to talk about here. It's kind of being in a know, having a general idea what's going on. And, being able to okay, I can survey and observe what's going on here. But when it really matters is why these things don't go to court. And I said all that to say this, that there are public safety issues, okay? And when I want to go to Target, I don't want to have to be concerned that if I have kids with me and they want to go in the restroom, that somebody's going to be, doing a peep show, okay? This matters. And just like with Starbucks, while they want to, only hire Muslim refugees, there might be a public safety matter. This matters to everyone. Thank you.